morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back into the one and only AM show. All right, folks, at the top of the show, Nadine and I tease that we have an incredible, creative, very talented guest that will be joining us. And guess what, y'all? He is here. I want you to stand to your feet wherever you are, infuse that enthusiasm, and show your love for our new friend, Mr. Dontaiz Rouse. AKA Mr. Artist, Mr. Fashion Designer, Mr. Cosplayer. Welcome to the show.
I don't know. I can follow that up. I was about to get on my seat. So I was like, oh, we're clapping for me?
Yes, we are clapping for you. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming to the show. Now, Dontaiz and Nadine and I cannot wait just to really peel this onion because you are incredibly creative. I know that you are a cosplayer and you've been doing that for so many years. So take all of us all the way back to the genesis of it, right? The beginning. When did you realize you had a passion for design and for becoming a cosplayer? When did that all start?
Okay. Oh, so the beginning of it? Okay. So
Yeah.
set the scene.
Set the scene.
Cordial, Georgia, August 5th. Thursday, 3:24 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh.
There's a
Wow.
Right.
There's a hairstyle.
Right. I was bald. But right. But okay. Yeah, so I'm from Georgia. I've been cosplaying I want to say for almost 6, about to be 7 years. I've always been a artistically inclined person, I would say. I like to work with my hands. I used to fiddle with my toys, take them apart, put them back together. I guess that's why I leaned to my mathematic and engineering side, what I do for my day job. But as far as artistically, I used to doodle, draw, my little miscellaneous art projects. Like I would take trash and make my own toys. Like one of my things I vividly remember was I made a baseball stadium out of a cake topper.
Wait, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was just something I did when I was like probably I think 10 or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, so it got into costuming when I got to my senior year of high school. We had a thing called a senior project, and we had to pick a special interest, present on it, write a paper. But I was like, oh, okay, so what do I want to do? So I like movies. It's one of my favorite pastimes. So let me just try making a costume. So it was a werewolf thing. I actually had asked one of my underclassmen homies. He was gracious enough to allow me to make him sweat and be my model while I presented to the student board. But from there, I kind of took a break from it. But 2018 in Atlanta, Georgia, there's this convention called Dragon Con, and it's multimedia, comic books, science. It's just anything, any walk of life that you have a special like fandom for. It's Dragon Con. And so they have this parade that they do every year on Saturday. It's 4 days, by the way. It's a huge party, but we learn some things. So on Saturday, even if you don't go to the convention, you can always count to go to the parade and see some like interesting characters from your usuals like Spider-Man and Superman, and then you get into the more zany things like I guess you could say Doctor Who, 300, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I took a look and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah.
And so from there, I took a little intermediate class at Joann's to figure out how to thread up my sewing machine, because I was like, I watched enough YouTube, but I don't know how to turn this thing on. So, and it was just a lot of white knuckle. Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of white knuckling it ever since then, because like I'm always learning. You're never the final version of yourself. I always like to keep my mind open and just learn new things with every new project. And yeah, that's what got me today.
Wow, I love that. Incredible.
No, that's a great story, because it just shows that you've had that creative spirit and that creative drive and energy in you since you were a small kid. You don't hear a lot of kids taking the trash and creating toys out of it.
Right.
You don't hear like kids taking cake toppers and making really cool designs. So I think that's beautiful. But before I dive into, because I want to get deeper into some of these conventions, can you tell people what cosplay is? For anybody who doesn't know what a cosplayer is, what cosplaying is, can you just kind of summarize that real quick for us?
Okay, so it is two separate words, shortened into one. It is costuming play. So a lot of people just like with it being close to Halloween, it's like, oh yeah, you just dress up once a year. But what cosplayers like to do is we take our inward love and we just spread it out for the things that we like to watch and read and go to the movies for. And it's more than just putting on a costume or just buying one, because a lot of people, if they don't make them, they'll just buy them and, just throw them on. But it's like you physically embody that character from attitude to your mannerisms and things like that. So a lot of times when people approach me, like I'll just be, basically I'll be in the waiting bay, just waiting for someone to be like, hey, and they'll never call you by your name. They'll be like, hey, Black Panther. And then it's like, okay, I gotta put it on.
That's so funny.
And and a lot of times it's there'll be photographers, and you get into your mode. So I say it's like, I'm not really an actor, but it's like really base level acting, I would say.
You're bringing those characters to life. That's essentially what you're doing. So I want to know, Dontaiz, before I ask you what I'm about to ask you, can you bring the Powerpuff Girls to life? Bring them to life. Bring them to life. Blossom and Buttercup, because they're animated characters. You could design them if you wanted to. No?
Wait, hold on. Hey, I never shot myself away from a challenge, but it's funny, me and my sisters, we actually talked about doing the Powerpuff Girls. Like they would be, and I would be one of the Rowdy Rough Boys, but I mean, it's really like when I get approached by someone who wants to like do a group cosplay with me, or they come to commission me for like a personal project. It's like, I would like for you to be excited for it, because if you're not excited for it, I'm probably not gonna be as excited for it. But I mean, I actually love the idea, because I mean, I grew up watching it, so.
You saw her excitement. She's ready.
She's ready to go. I do. But you speak about your excitement when approaching new designs. I'm curious. I know that you are originally from the South in Georgia. I have family down there, and you attended Savannah State University, which is a historically Black university. So I'm curious, like, what was your experience like there, and how did that contribute to your artistic expression?
Man, that's a good question. I never thought about it that way. But so my whole like educational career, I was either in predominantly white spaces, or I would say my last high school that I went to for a year and a half, it was Albany High School. I didn't know anything outside of Omega Psi Phi and Kappa Alpha Psi and the National Pan-Hellenic Council, because there's 9 organizations in the NPHC. But I only knew about those 2 fraternities, and my advisor and also ethics teacher at the time, Ryan Tomlin, he was the one who introduced me to Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which is the organization I inevitably chose. And we just hit it off. We talked about things. I never thought about going to college outside of Auburn University, and even then I was kind of lackadaisical about it, and like, I mean, I'll take the SAT, I'll take the ACT, but I mean, I'm not studying for it. And then when I connected with him, I actually got excited about the idea. He was an alumni of SSU, Savannah State, and I went on a visit, and I fell in love with it. The Savannah area, downtown is great when I was actually old enough to drink there. But when you get there, it feels like home. It has like growing pains, as any university does, but when it comes to just the familiarity of it, like I could, on a Thursday afternoon, I could just go and hang out with one of my professors, and I don't feel like I would be able to have done that if I was at a large university, or if the teaching staff didn't actually look like me, or I would say even try to identify with me, because my my steel analyst professor, he was an Indian man, and you know, we would always joke with him, and we would share. It was a cultural exchange, and a lot of learning took place. And even though I was in a more homogenous environment, I still was able to travel, and it took me to places that I never would have thought. Because one of the volunteering opportunities that we would go through, my first time going to New York was alternative spring break, and we would, you know, volunteer in the community, and yeah, and I say it all the time, but I'm amazed by some of the things that I've actually been able to see. But as far as my artistic expression, it was kind of a blur there, because it was just straight engineering every day. And so I think that's why I swung the pendulum so much in the other way once I graduated. But I mean, I would definitely say it eked out in certain ways. I would say during my tenure at Savannah State, I would make like art projects for my fraternity. We have these presentations called probate shows where I would make the masks, and you know, there would be a very like fashion design, fashion oriented air when it comes to going to Savannah State. Like anytime you go to the basketball game, it's time to put on. It's like you gotta put on your best outfit. We also have Dress for Success Wednesdays, where I actually got into menswear. And you know, you're in college, you only have so much money, so you go to Goodwill, you get a couple of sport coats, you take them to the tailor, you look like you just stepped out of Brooks Brothers, or you know, things like that. So I would say, yeah, most of my expression came from how I dressed, and you know, just little art projects.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Very creative.
I think it's great that you're using also the engineering and the math side of things and tying that in with these costume designs, because we have to talk about, guys, what's right here. Who is this? What is this? Tell us about the backstory. Because everyone's like, hang on, we're not used to that as your centerpiece. No, guys, it's not our official centerpiece, but it may be. I think I'm gonna have you leave it for us, because it's beautiful. Please tell us about this, because this looks like an engineering artistic project. It's kind of encompassing everything that you do.
Okay, how much time you got?
We have a minute.
All right, so this is from an anime that I watched. It's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is just a character, we'll leave it at that. It's a character called Magician's Red. It's basically a giant man bird that, that sets itself on fire and punches people.
Okay.
But yeah, so,
I like him.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows to watch. It's my comfort show. I'm all caught up on it, so I'll just watch old episodes. But as far as like what it goes into making it, I haven't got into actual computer-aided design heavy, but I do make some things on the computer. What we do with those files is we take them and we put them on a device called a 3D printer. You might have heard of it before, but from there, it's like you take molten plastic and it just layers everything up millimeter by millimeter, and it comes out with this, and then you sand it, you paint it. And this one this is my first fur head, so I furred it, added feathers, and yeah, like it does get hot in there, but you know, I used some of my electronic skills, soldered a simple circuit, and put a fan in there.
Wow.
Wow.
See, so you really are combining it all.
Yeah, you can fit a fan in there.
When it comes to engineering, problem solving is a lot of working with what you got. So I only had so much space, and you know, necessity is the mother of invention. So.
Wow, I am so impressed. I don't know if I'd be able to pull that off. I don't know.
And I can't believe a 3D printer printed the beak of that. I keep just looking at the design of it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, if you can tell us in one sentence, how long did that take?
This one, 118 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, to make the head.
No, the whole costume.
The
head?
Whole costume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to say the head, it probably took about 50 hours.
That's long though.
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It really, really is. I love it. We have so many more questions to ask you, Dontaiz. I'm still looking at that head and I'm going 50 hours. I wouldn't have made it. But you guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. Don't you go anywhere. Grab a snack and come right back because we're going to take a deep dive into more cosplaying when we return.
Wow, I can't believe that.
That's insane. Yes, that's him, you guys. Welcome back to the show. Please welcome back our incredible, so talented, super talented, Mr. Dontaiz Rouse, cosplayer. That's right, give it up, Mr. Cosplayer himself. So, Dontaiz, I know that we have been joined with some company. So I want to start with Mr. Black Panther over here. Tell us all about the inspo behind this, how long this took you. Just give me all of the details because this is incredible.
Okay, so reason why I made this was one of my favorite Marvel movies at the time. And I started this particular costume the day after Chadwick Boseman died. And I can't remember, I think I made this in 2018, 2019. I don't even remember how long it took me, but I know I got it done right before Halloween.
Wow. So. And when did you wear this?
When did I wear this?
Have you ever worn this costume?
Yeah, I wore it several times.
Where?
I wore this at Dragon Con, BlurCon, which is in Arlington, Virginia, and probably so many since then. Yeah, this is my baby. That's why I brought it.
Wow. Okay, so this is I love it. So this is the costume that folks know you from.
No, actually, I've produced so much better work since then. But this, like the ones I brought today, these are some of my favorites. But yeah. I would say if you see this one, if you've seen it on the internet, you might know it's me. So, yeah.
And this, Dontaiz, this is all handmade.
Yes.
This is all you.
I made the pattern on the computer, got it printed at a fabric printing surface, and yeah, all this is just
wow.
Yeah, just a lot of figuring stuff out. So.
Wow. And how long did it take you to make the head? Do you remember? Oh my God, this looks so real life.
Oh, I don't know, because I had already had it printed out, but the hard part is getting it printed out. But painting it and everything, I'd say probably about a couple of weeks for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like him because he's tall. I like guys that are tall. Okay, now tell me about Mr. Spider-Man. What was the inspo behind this? Where did you wear this to? And how long did this project take you?
So this one is special to me because Spider-Man is one of my favorite outside of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I love everything Spider-Man. I made it because I played the most recent video game for this character on the PlayStation, and there just happened to be an opportunity in Atlanta, Georgia, MomoCon, where they were trying to break the Guinness World Record for most Spider-Man in one location at a time. So I was like, why not just pick a suit from the game and just make it? So this is a concept came up by a Japanese manga artist named Peach Momoko, and she has interwoven a lot of her heritage through it. I wish I could show you the back, but it's emblazoned with different tattoos, and I basically took the art from the game and hand painted it onto the fabric that I had. And yeah, and this helmet, I asked an artist to make it for me on the computer, and I printed it out myself.
Oh my goodness. Listen, Dontaiz, you are so talented. Like, I wouldn't even think to come up with something like this, nor do I believe I have the ability or the patience to really work on this. You are a true cosplayer, and I know that you're all about giving back. You're all about giving back to You're all about giving back.
Ain't it?
I know.
This is my man.
I know this is your man. All right. After the show it is. Right now he's my man.
Right.
But I know you're all about giving back to your community, and you actually obtained the role of makerspace attendant, where you really just give back to the community, teaching them cosplayer skills. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So that was a side job that I had, and it was outside of like just finishing and getting into my engineering career. That was some of the most rewarding work I had ever done, because I actually got to take my hobby and profess my knowledge in a more structured system. Because I mean, I tell people all the time, like if they ask me questions, I'll answer them, but to actually have a place where I can just go and, you know, oh, this is how you 3D print something, or oh, this is how you heat press a shirt, or work on a mug, or, you know, things like that. So it was very fun. I did it for about a year, and you know, I was trying to avoid burnout, so that's the only reason I'm not doing it now. But if you happen to find yourself in the Patchogue Medford Library area, I'm doing sporadic classes.
I love that. I love that. Wait, tell everybody where that's located.
Whew, that's in Long Island.
Okay, I'm from Long Island as well.
Okay.
That's incredible. Okay, so speaking of locations and really giving back, a little birdie, actually Black Panther, told me that you actually are creating your own costume for homecoming. He's an HBCU, y'all, HBCU graduate, Savannah State University back there at home in Georgia. And homecoming is coming just in a couple of days. All right, tell us what you're wearing and what's that process like?
It's not gonna be anything costume heavy this time, unfortunately, but I am just working on a couple of incognito looks, similar to, you know, like my shirt that I'm wearing. So I'll probably just work on something from this other anime called One Piece. Just a shirt, probably throw something on the back, and then that Saturday, I don't think it's gonna be anything anime influenced, but it'll just be like an all jean outfit. There's this character in another anime called Best Jeanist. So, and his name is what it implies, is he wears a lot of denim. So maybe I'll take some cues from that. Have like a big belt buckle with my initials. I don't know. We're still working on it. We have this thing called Con Crunch, and right now I'm in crunch mode because homecoming is the 25th, so I only got so much time.
Oh my God, no, I'm just like so fascinated. I love a good on denim look, especially deeming that you are creating it yourself. Dontaiz, that's incredible. That is incredible. There aren't, but you don't find people every day doing what you're doing. They're not on every corner because it takes a lot of skill, a lot of tenacity, a lot of consistency to create such great pieces as these two guys right here. And speaking of creating great pieces, Dante, you have over 20 designs. That's a lot. So I'm gonna ask you, do you remember what your favorite design was? What was your favorite project to work on out of that 20?
My favorite, and the one that like I guess would catapult me into like people knowing me, was another Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man 2099. I was taking like online classes at this place called Stan Winston, and I wanted to get into casting and, you know, all this like movie stuff, you know, going back to my high school background. So from there, I did like what you would do in like if you were a professional costume designer, because I still consider myself very much an amateur. But yeah, it was a lot of mistakes, but when people tell me, they're like, oh, it looks so amazing.
Yeah.
I got that voice in the back of my head, and I'm like, oh, it can be better. But that's the one I loved. I kind of hate that I had to throw it away, but it was falling apart. So.
Well, no, that we are always our harshest critics. We are, because we don't see ourselves the way other people see us. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. And we have a tendency of like sort of diminishing the compliment. The compliment or disregarding it. No, Dontaiz, you need to soak that up because you really are incredible. You really are. And speaking of just your process and your whole creative ability, I'm curious, what is your favorite part of cosplaying and what is your least favorite part?
Oh, the My favorite part is the journey itself when it comes to making a costume. Like I usually go through research and development, fabric swatches and all this stuff, drawing it out. And then you get to the convention and you meet people or you see your old friends and you take pictures and all this stuff. It's like, it's very tiring. I'm not gonna like try to sugarcoat it or anything. But I wouldn't trade it for the world, that experience. My least favorite thing is how tiring it can be. Because, you know, even though you may start a project early, there's like unforeseen things that'll derail the entire project, and it's just so deflating. And as well as if I could change anything about me making my own costumes, is the relationship between cost and idea. Because I always say, like, if I had an unlimited budget, there's no telling what I could do. But you know, I'm very limited in my space. But you know, I've had my business for about 5 years now, so I'm trying to make it so that it pays for itself as I make new things.
No, that's so true. You answered it, because that was gonna be my next question. Like, what was your most expensive piece? Because it costs money. Creativity costs money. Do you remember how much your most expensive? I'm
ashamed to say I don't keep up with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's like I have a set amount that I spend per month, and I never like assign the cost to one thing.
Okay.
But I would say some of the most expensive ones are in or around the $1,500 range.
I get it. I got it.
It's spread out over months at a time, so it's like I never like really keep up with it. So.
Yeah, I see. Now, speaking of keeping up with things, Dante, I know that you keep up with all of the conventions. So this is a two-part question. One, do you know how many conventions you've been to? And two, how are you preparing for Comic-Con that's coming up?
Okay, so how many conventions? All I can say is I have like a hook in my kitchen. It's just I basically need to buy a new hook, because there's a lot of badges up there from previous events.
Wow.
But I'll be conservative and say about 25. Yes, 25 since about 2018.
Okay.
Now, what I'm doing to get prepared for New York Comic-Con, I'm not making anything new, but I am just working on like a couple of notes for the class that I will be teaching, that's being hosted by Mass Dad Workshop. Yeah, so I'm just gonna show up, do my class.
Interesting.
And, you know, hang out with friends, and yeah.
I love that. And how long are your classes?
This class, I believe, will probably be an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, and it'll be all 4 days of New York Comic-Con, so Thursday to Sunday.
That's really, really in-depth. So, okay, so speaking of in-depth, every piece of this art is in-depth. I'm looking at it, the details. Seriously, no, you should be proud of this. You really should. I'm sure your family is super supportive of you as well. I'm curious, where do you see your business in the next 5 years? I know you've had it for 5 years, but where do you see it going in the next 5 years to come?
Hopefully, I would hope in some capacity I can just do this for a living. I get a lot of my materials from like places like Home Depot. So if they ever just wanted to start their own line of, you know, like tools, like from sanders and high volume, low pressure airbrush guns, I mean, I have a bunch of recommendations. But as far as just like costuming, I would love to just have my own studio where I just work out of it and work for like high profile clients. Because even though, you know, like I like doing commissions, it's like it's so sporadic and everything. It's like I can't necessarily like make this my sole venture as far as like, you know, just working. So, yeah.
But you have that creativity, so you can design anything. Like in my mind, you can
say anything.
Look at this, Dontaiz. This is incredible. I just want to leave our viewers with this. In 10 to 15 seconds, what piece of advice would you give any aspiring cosplayers out there?
My motto I chose is make it happen, and for the simple fact is you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Nobody should be able to stand in your way and take anything from what you want to do. So just make it happen.
I love that. I love that. Make it happen. Let us put our hands together for Mr. Dontaiz Rouse. All right, Dontaiz, tell all of our brothers and sisters where they can find you on social media.
You can find me at Tafkar Design. That is T as in tree, AFKAR Design _ and that's across all platforms. You can also just probably search my name, which is Dontaiz Rouse, and it'll take you to the same spot. But yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out. I answer questions, and yeah, that's all I got.
I love that. I love that. You are doing amazing, incredible work. I know that your mother is proud of you. We are super impressed. And I'm definitely going to be following up on you with future projects. Incredible. Mr. Dontaiz Rouse, everybody. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but don't you go anywhere. We have more of the show when we return. He's my man.